It's a little hard, right? Why? It's nice. The sun will come back.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, today's we are last Wednesday class 2011. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. I hope everybody learned something 2011 Wednesday class. I hope not things leaking less. Oh, upset down less. Yeah. Anyway. 아니 나는 또 따로는 제가 사람이 말이야 사람.
So what we're studying is path and ground.
좋아. 아니. 간제 사담합니다 집안에 고민이 다르면 집안에 말해서.
So in this context, path and ground are same. It's just different name.
아니 대화성이 달라마로 쓴
So there are three different paths of three different vehicles.
아니 인도리랑 아니 다 장치스를 합쳐서 대화 중에 소리가 그래서
And so those are the hero's path, surpassing path, and the Mahayana path, or Bodhisattva path.
아니야. 다양한 기호 섬세히 와서 로소남 섬세히 좀 돈들어내서.
So also there are three capable beings and three principal aspect of paths, so you should not be mistaken with those.
아니 로소남 섬 가르쳐나?
So what are the three principal aspect of paths?
Everybody knows.
So the three principal aspects of the path are the main ones, right? That's so without which you cannot have anything else.
Renunciation. Okay. Bodhicitta and emptiness.
Oh, good. Okay, everybody remember, okay? Don't forget. And also comes to
So yeah, those are the three, right? So renunciation, bodhicitta, and the correct view of emptiness. Without renunciation, you cannot enter into a path. Without bodhicitta, you will not become a Mahayanist. And if you don't have the realization of the correct view of emptiness, then you will not be able to free from cycling instincts. So you should keep this in your mind all the time. It's very important not to forget that. So you know the three capable beings, right? The three scopes. So there's a chance saying that you wouldn't forget even if you're being chased by a crazy dog. So you know those three, right? Three table beings, Bob? Like three table beings.
Can you guys say?
What are they?
What are they?
Small, medium, that was small, medium, and great.
Small, medium, and large.
Oh, sorry.
Ordering.
That's your thing. That's the approach. That's the choose that you're doing approach, isn't it? You're choosing that condition. Chess the condition, isn't it?
So how do you define small table being, medium table being, or great table beings?
Just either one.
Their ability to perceive emptiness.
No, you go further. Okay, go ahead.
The small, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the small being is like the motivation. It's all about motivation, I think.
Oh, that's
It's all about like the guy says, I want to be born in an upper realm. Yeah.
That's right.
So that's the small one. The medium one guy, he says, what does he say? He says that, okay, I want to be born in the upper realm to, I don't know, to save all the other people, something like that. No? I don't know. It's all about motivation.
The medium one doesn't want to be born.
The medium one is
wants
supposed to hang out.
nirvana. Yeah.
He wants nirvana for himself.
Right.
And the third one says, let's go with everybody. For everybody. Let's push the others first and I'll go too. Right?
I can't say much. And Ranjit, and you saw what doing on the musician, Charlie, teaching that you want to mention that, and give it you
So yeah, basically it is to do with the motivation, and so because you are afraid of these sufferings in the lower realm, so you don't want to be born there. So in order to be free from there, then you engage in the practice of Dharma mainly to be free from the lower realms. So you think it would be alright to be born in the upper realm, but don't want to be born in the lower realm. So for that, in order to be free from that, then you engage in the practice of Dharma. So that's a small category.
And the teaching jumbo, the anti-oching jumbo.
And so the refuge within his continuum will be also a refuge of the small skull.
That's what you said. Yes, what do I 주부터는 좀 땅 거의 동안 하고 땅 거의 동안 다 해셔도 아니 겨워셔봐 다 제대로 안 되면 능세로.
So then the person who thinks that even if you're free from the lower realms, you're still in the upper realm, you still have to go through sufferings, and so you have to you have to free yourself from the entire psychic existence. And so with that thought, then you engage, in order to be free from the entire psychic existence, you engage in the practice of Dharma. So that's the medium capability. So the refuge in the continuum of that person would be the refuge of the medium skull. And so for that kind of person, it can be healers or social relatives, or both.
근데 어떤 소중 거에도 마찬가지로 집어를 다 선체 탄좀 거에도 말해 안에 다 담아야겠죠. 다 이제 다 선체 담죠. 산체 거만 더 해야겠죠. 거 소중 거 같은 중으로 다 선체 탄좀 거와를 좀 있어도 다 조서 나와셔야되더라. 이게 어찌 뭐세요.
So then the one who thinks that it is not sufficient just to free myself alone from psychic existence, I should free all sentient beings. So in order to do that, then you engage in the practice of Dharma. That's the great skull. And so the refuge within his continuum will also be the refuge of the great skull. And so the path within this continuum will be also the path of the great skull. So there are many trees, like three capital beings, three skulls, three figures, and so forth. So it would be good if you don't mix them up. So what is the criteria of having or not having entered into the path?
Okay.
Renunciation means the first one.
Yeah, renunciation. Yeah, that's good. Tenji Kaza de Teva Chimbalamji Kaza in Kawata.
And if that kind of person is the person on the Mahayana path, then what do you look for?
Okay, bodhicitta. Yeah. Then you get to Shanshi with things, and then Teva Chimbalamji Kaza.
So yeah, if that kind of renunciation is conjoined with bodhicitta, then that person will be on the Mahayana path, right?
Okay. That's not more knowledge that's don't have as
So we have studied all this about paths and grounds, so we're trying to like bring it all together now.
Okay. 다 나가 슈자마다 니토람지 가다 라자람지 가다 대충만 쓰는 거 대나네 다 니토라 소소시부터 바바니가 왔어.
So now, once you have entered into the path, so there are three different kind of paths, right? In general, the hearer's path, Sojivyas's path, and the Mahayana path, right? And in the hearer's path, there are, you can say, the ordinary path and superior path, right?
다 니토로 파페 공제 쪽 가르나 가르 공제 쪽 가르 빠지 쪽 오시나.
And so the hearers, the practitioner on the hearer's path, what does he or she mainly meditates or practices? Okay. What does he mainly practices or meditates on?
Not following its follow around.
What is their main object of meditation? Object of meditation, what do they meditate on?
The selflessness of persons, isn't it?
Yes, the selflessness of person. That's their object of meditation, the main object of meditation. And so this is according to the Sautantaka, Madhyamika, and below schools.
Okay.
So what they mainly meditate on is selflessness of person, right? What do they mainly abandon? What is their main object of abandonment? Attachments. Chapa.
The concept.
Anything else?
The sense of self.
Danzis.
Yeah, that's good.
Grasping at self.
Yeah.
Grasping at the self. So by meditating on the selflessness of person, you overcome the grasping of the self of the person. So the mind that sees the selfless of person, or that grasp at the self of person. So these two mind, and so the object is same, right? They're looking at the self or the I, but the way they look at it is different. It's totally it's contradicting or totally different. The way they're looking at the same object, but they're looking in a different ways, in opposite ways, right? So the mind that sees the self as the person, the self as the person, that sees the self or the person being empty of existing, self-sufficient or substantially, and then the mind that sees the self of the person, the grasping of the self of the person, that sees the self or the person as existing sufficiently, self-sufficiently or substantially.
Right?
Understand that?
Correct.
So what about the spirits of the assaulted realizer? What is their main object of meditation and what is their main object of abandonment?
The appearance of the subject and object as two, something like that.
So the emptiness of duality, right?
Okay.
Duality. So it says that the subject and object are of same substances. So they are of of same substance, but if you see them as a different substance, that's the duality, right? Grasping at the duality. And so, so that emptiness of grasping at duality, is what they mainly meditate on. So what is the main object of meditation? Abandonment? What is the mainly abandon? Duality? Grasping at duality?
The appearance of duality.
Oh, appearance of duality.
I don't remember.
The rest?
Yeah.
You know? Well, you don't know? Yeah, so of course they do measure on both of them, the substance of person and the emptiness of the duality or appearance of duality, but they have their main object of meditation. So they mainly meditate on this, and they mainly meditate on that. So you have to be able to differentiate that. According to the Prasangika Madhavika, it would be different. So, so they all have to meditate on the substances, the emptiness, the lack of true existence, and their main object of abandonment will be grasping at the true existence. And so now the bodhisattvas, the spirit bodhisattvas, what are their main object of meditation? What do they mainly meditate on?
Emptiness.
And what is their main object of abandonment?
No self. What do they abandon?
You talked last week, right? Remember? Maybe you guys doesn't know the name now. We just
yeah, so there are these inner and intellectual delusions or obstructions. Anyway, so mainly this grasping at true existence. Grasping at true existence is what they mainly meditate on. Mainly abandon. And then, of course, grasping at true existence, the intellectual grasping at true existence and the innate grasping at true existence. Then that if you spread that around, then that is included in the desarium, those that are included in the form realm and the formless realm. So we talked about what 108 obstruction the deluded obstructions, right?
아니 라자 법이 이동 검제 좋으시네. 아니 수치로 되는 바디 바디 좋으시네. 상사 법이 돈이 검제 좋으시네. 아니 다 내서 바디 좋으시는 사람들은 상고래서.
So, but in general, you should have this a rough idea about the hearers, what do they mainly meditate on the sadness of the person, what do they mainly abandon, grasping of the self of the person, grasping of the person as existing self-sufficient or substantially. And then the social classes, what do they meditate on? What do they mainly meditate on? They meditate on the emptiness of the appearance of duality. And then they mainly abandon grasping at the appearance of the duality. And then the Bodhisattvas, they mainly meditate on emptiness. Their main object of abandonment is grasping at truth and so forth. So you should have that idea.
Okay. 다 남자 시험이 삼아라. 아니 내가 상점 삼을 주는다. 담보는 상점 삼아야 참기도. 아니 담보는 예술을 주고. 아니 그래야 예술랑 참아도 되고. 아니 야 상점 삼아야 하는 게 되게 담보를 이루어서.
And then in the Bodhisattva path, so there are two kinds, those who go through the heroes of Bodhisattva's path, or those who go straight into the Mahayana path.
내가 담보 하는 예술을 하실 때 내가 상점 삼아라. 아니 가로 예술이 또 가면서 상점 삼아라 그랬어.
So those who enter into the hero's path first, and then after that go to the Mahayana path, is those who have preceded the hero's path.
대니가 가면라 마주네 아니 담보의 상점 삼아라. 아니 담보 예능이 상점 삼아. 그거 뭐 이렇게 그랬어.
So those who don't go through the other path, go straight into the Mahayana path, is the Bodhisattvas, those are considered as the sharp faculties.
어디지? 다 상점에서만 가고 생진의 짜, 생진의 짠이 와 대담보 아니 상점 성화 중인 것도 그랬어.
So the Bodhisattvas, there are 22 different kinds, and so that starts from the small part of accumulation of Mahayana path.
양 상점에서 살아야 멤버들 주바들이 딱 쪼르는 게 왔나 그랬는데 대니 아니 양 아니 상점 성화는 것도 그랬어.
Then also there are these two bodhicittas, two kinds of bodhicittas, right? The wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta, they also start from the path of accumulation.
아니 주바 아니 멤버들이 들어가지고 가면 생체에 그쳐 주바들이랑 맞춰서 가시라고 그랬어.
So usually it says that if you have the wishing bodhicitta, then you are necessarily sentient beings, but if you have engaging bodhicitta, then it's not necessary to be a sentient being. So you understand the significance of that?
Buddha.
Then, members said, Shivanim is a master was. And Jubat Shivanim is some master.
So the wishing bodhicitta is just the wish, you have actually engaged in the action, right? But the engaging bodhicitta, you actually engage in the action. So the engaging, the wishing bodhicitta usually exists in the continuum of those bodhisattvas or meditative equipoise.
아니 주바스 제대로 다 상주생활을 상제나 같이 맞지 다 생생을 때 되죠 봐. 아니 계속 다시 쪽에 양의 세진게 내가 다 상주생활을 그래서
the engaging bodhicitta is the bodhicitta within the continuum of bodhisattvas who are in the post-meditative equipoise, who actually in the action of benefiting sentient beings.
우리가 상제지 생체 상제나 다 염색을 생체 때 세진 봐. 그래서 다시 쪽에 양의 맞지 말자.
So Buddha will be someone who is constantly happy, right, all the time, continuously happy and helping sentient beings. So always engaging in the act of benefit others, right? So that would be like engaging bodhicitta. So those are the main things in this text. So, but if you explain it, then of course you can talk a lot about it, but you don't have to go through all that.
남자가 가데나다 샤주 샘결에 깨워 좀 내가 가로 로와나 로와도 제타시를 했다 뭐 특성에 가데나 샤주 샘 먹으러 셨다 야 멤버들이 강사 내지게래요 리바들이 강사 내지게래요 그래서 사마 이거 왔어 내지 로들이 라커레스.
So we always pray ourselves, right? To be able to generate bodhicitta in our mind and so forth, So you should have some idea about what is bodhicitta. So there are this kind of bodhicittas, that is wishing bodhicitta, engaging bodhicitta. Wishing bodhicitta means like this, and engaging bodhicitta means like this. So you have to have the rough idea of the bodhicitta that you pray to be able to generate.
아니 대다수제는 가능이라고 했다. 대다수제라고.
So what is ultimate bodhicitta?
It is the wisdom realizing emptiness.
Yeah, that's good. Don't get to do sending something and the house is.
So it's the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta. It's the bodhicitta. We're talking about ultimate bodhicitta, right? So it's the bodhicitta that is conjoined with the wisdom that's emptiness. So you cannot just say wisdom that's emptiness. It's the bodhicitta conjoined with the wisdom that's emptiness, correct? So it has to. So it will be in the superior bodhisattva's continuum, right? The superior bodhisattva who realizes emptiness directly and who has bodhicitta. So that bodhicitta conjoined with the wisdom realizing emptiness directly will be the ultimate bodhicitta.
내가 됐거든. 인디 자체는 또 방금 그 샹스 영화바티 돈이 그 또여자 샹스 선발되는 샹스 방법 말했어. 인디 자체는 또 방금
더 찬스 말했어요.
그러니까 대지했을 때 대놓고 말했어. 돈이 뜨거로 거머쥐를 되나.
So
마이카.
So you know the hearer, right? So the hearers, they also realize emptiness directly, right? According to the perspective of the Buddha's view, they also realize emptiness directly, because the hearer is superior. And so those who have gone through that path, hearer's path, and then later they enter into the Mahayana path, right? So they are on the Mahayana ordinary path, the path of accumulation or path of preparation. So those are the Mahayana ordinary path. So only after you have seen and you have reached the Mahayana path of seeing, then you become the superior, the Mahayana superior being. And so, so that kind of bodhisattva, or the path of preparation or path of accumulation, who have gone through the hero's path and realize emptiness directly. So they have bodhicitta, they have the realization of emptiness directly, but their bodhicitta is not ultimate bodhicitta. So it has to be Arya bodhisattva. It has to be the bodhicitta within the continuum of Arya bodhisattva.
내가 떼트리라고. 나도 이거는 떼야.
대주가 돈이 모습을 보여와. 돈이 모습을 보여. 대를 선생님한테 돈 다시 왔어.
간나 그거에 대신 보고 말았어.
So it has to be a Arya bodhisattva.
Okay.
Superior bodhisattva.
And then 방발에 was. Yeah,
What were you going to ask?
You used the word conjoined. Is it okay to say also that the bodhicitta that results from the realization of emptiness, or is that different?
But it's also be different. So, like in this case, conjoined, will be like having together.
Yeah.
Two things having together.
Okay.
So if you have this, but you don't have that, then so you have peanut butter and jam on the bread. So peanut butter conjoined with the jam. So like that. So anyway, together, that's all it means.
Okay.
Simba said it. 네가
이거 같이 지 공부를 지 공부를 들었지 지 공부를 들었나 무슨 말이야? 그런 이거 같이 지 공부를 들었다 지 공부를 들었나 무슨 말이야? 공부를 들고 서서히 이제 지금 공부를 들었다 지금 생각 공부를 들었나?
잘했어요.
서서히
맞아. 돈이 더 불러요.
돈이 더 들어야 공부를 해. 쉽지 않아.
네.
된 들어가 때는 때니 아니 이제 전부 샤주 생겨 공부로구나. 그래서 뭐 내가 로맨은 스타스를 거기다 거기를 그렇게 해요.
So yeah, Geshe said that, so it has to be also, on top of having together, we should also, it should help each other to get increased. So you have bodhicitta and you have emptiness, wisdom realizes emptiness directly. So as you increase in the realization of emptiness, that should also help to increase, in the realization of bodhicitta. And so then we'll be conjoined. So if you have together, it doesn't mean it's conjoined in this case, in this context. So you wouldn't say wisdom realizing emptiness conjoined with grasping at truth. And you wouldn't say that, right? So because in this case, in this context, usually yes, they are both are there together, so you can say conjoined. But in this case, because it has to help other to increase also, as you increase in the wisdom realizing emptiness directly, then your grasping at the truth will decrease instead of increasing. So you will not say conjoined. You will not say the wisdom realizing emptiness conjoined with grasping at truth. You will not say that in this case.
Okay?
Conjoined and conjoining. So here, so this is conjoined and this is conjoining. So that's the definition. Is that when one increases, that helps the others to increase also.
Okay.
Yeah. And did you say?
I was just wondering if when you say the mind realizing emptiness and bodhicitta conjoined, does it mean like both of them are like manifest at the same time, or just a continuum has both?
Unity. So it just have to exist, It doesn't have to manifest at the same time.
Can they manifest at the same time either?
Not in sentient beings. Not in sentient beings. So they're not manifesting at the same time. Yeah, so bodhicitta in the continuum of bodhisattva on the uninterrupted path, there is a bodhicitta, but it's not manifesting. And then likewise, the wisdom realizing emptiness directly is existing in the mind of the bodhisattva on the post-meditative equipoise, but it's not manifesting.
So it's like they're conjoined by being there, by both being in the continuum, but also they're conjoined like by you have some connection in your mind.
So they're not just being there together, but being there together and helping each other to increase each other.
Yeah, you have some connection. I mean, to me it sounds like, for example, if you are a student in the university and you study, one class is psychology and another class is like art history, but every time you study psychology, your understanding of art history improves. And when you study art history, you understand something deeper about psychology. It's like that, right?
Yeah. So, similar, So it helps each other to
So you have
improve
some connection. You make some connection between your understanding of emptiness and bodhicitta.
Sure. Yeah, that's it. Then we have...
Why is it that living beings cannot have it together? Why?
So, because on sentient being's mind, you cannot have two thoughts at the same time, two perceptions at the same time. So when one can come, the other hides, goes in the back.
So they will never get ultimate bodhicitta.
Huh?
They will never understand ultimate bodhicitta. Because then it has, ultimate bodhicitta has two phases, right? Two conjoining.
This is what he was defining before.
Yeah.
It just means you have both in the same continuum, and that they
help each other.
They synergize or something. They help each other.
So that is the ultimate bodhicitta.
but they don't arise together.
Yeah, not simultaneously.
So you cannot be awake and sleep at the same time. So there are two different. So that's the gross one that you can understand easily. But can you hear and see at the same time?
You will have to have two minds for that, right?
You can see, right? We think we can see, but what is really manifesting is when you're really looking at something, you can't hear it really properly. When you're really listening to something, you can't hear it, you can't see it properly. So, I mean, you have the vague, but that's like, not manifesting is like back and there. But you can kind of see, but you both will not be clear at the same time. So when one is clear, the other one becomes vague. When the other one becomes clear, the one becomes vague. So, but we don't realize that. That's very subtle. Very subtle. So normally we think that we can test and see and look at and hear everything at the same time.
It's like multitasking.
So when you're looking at something else, then your attention is there. You watch a movie and then somebody says something here, you don't hear it properly. Then you have to ask again, what did you say? Like that.
So it has to do with attention. Yeah.
Inattentive. We call it inattentive mind. So it appears, but you don't cognize it. So that's the reason why we cannot have two sentient beings, cannot have two kind of consciousnesses, minds appearing at the same time.
Okay.
So you should think about that, whether it's true or not, makes sense or not. So inattentive, is that mind is that the mind, the object which appears to the mind, but it's not able to recognize it, perceive it fully. So the example would be like ear perception, ear consciousness, grasping at a sound, ear perception, apprehending a sound at a time when your eye consciousness is very attached to a beautiful object. And so where your eye consciousness, where your eye perception is attached to a very beautiful object, and at that time when you hear the sound, so the ear consciousness grasping at the sound will be inattentive. And so, in a similar way, when you're fully focused on emptiness, on the object of meditation, on emptiness, meditating on emptiness, at that time, you have bodhicitta, the patience, and so forth, but they're not manifesting at that time. And so while you're practicing other perfections like the generosity and so forth, you can't be meditating on emptiness at the same time. So when you're practicing patience or practicing generosity, you're engaging in some kind of action, right? So you won't be able to focus on the emptiness at that time.
이제 말을 주시지마, 무지바 잠시지마, 아니 상황이지마, 또 가르치나 가르쳐봐나 나도 액션 제로도.
So whatever kind of generosity practice that you're doing, the generous practice, the practice of giving, that's the giving of Dharma, giving of material stuff, and the giving of protection and so forth. So whatever you're doing, you have to engage in some kind of activities, right?
Okay. 다시 스타트 내려오래. 오케이. This is just. 다음나도 가서 다 사이 용조세야 돼. 가르치려고 그랬어. 사이 용조세야 돼. 가서 지금이 전화가 안 보고 사이 용조는 가려고 하나? 당하는 거지?
What did we start last time? The pure ground, right? What are the pure grounds?
Purification of the ground.
Purification of the ground, right?
마지막 그거는 이제 사실 진짜로 말에 도구식이 뭐야?
Ngabo.
나와.
I think so.
Number what?
Ngabo. 5.
No.
Is it good?
Maybe we went a little bit past that.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
I think maybe we did the definition of a purification of the ground and also purification of the first ground.
Okay. 딱 가지. 세 용조세나 왠지 사대가 가라지 가라지 얘데 야 공부해 들어왔다. 아니 얘데 또 시도다 얘데. 이 사세 용조가 가지.
So it says that good quality, right? Good quality that eliminates the faults of the ground for whoever possesses it and which completes the good qualities. Okay, so that's the definition of thorough purification in the ground, right?
You got the page number? You know that?
52.
뭐라더니 다 사도미 봐서 나 야를 그래. 방금도 지금이 그 뭐 간지 사태들이 아니 제스어시 얘를做시 감각이
So this one has so every ground has this, the purification of a ground, right? Of that ground. So thorough purification of that ground. So you can say the good quality of the first ground, which eliminates the faults of the first ground, and which completes the good qualities of the first ground. That's the first ground. The thorough purification of the first ground. And then you can apply that to the second ground, third ground. So you can say the good qualities of the second ground, which eliminates the faults of the second ground, and so forth. So then you get the third ground, fourth ground. Okay, so we don't go through all of them, each and every one of them. So, but you
Can you maybe want to give an example? You want to give an example?
Example of what?
사이 용조.
of the thorough purification of ground.
그냥 사도미 용조.
Of the first ground, let's say of the first ground.
Okay,
What is that good quality that eliminates the faults of the first ground?
Can you give me an example? Aaron? No? You sure? Not excellent.
Isn't the meditation on emptiness for all of them the same? Isn't that what's purifying the ground? Is the meditation on emptiness? But I don't know, is it related to the perfections too?
Yeah.
본인
wants to go.
본인들이 또 별로 상하실 것은 인지 처음으로 그러는데
All of them.
all of the colleges 내게 있지 않은 애를 그러나 상하실에서 뭐 보거나 이 소리 좀 모두 들이 얘네들이랑 양쪽으로 왔어.
So these are the, sorry, you can translate.
So yeah. So if you meditate on bodhicitta a lot, that will help you to purify just by increasing your merit. So more you meditate on bodhicitta, more merit you accumulate. And then more merit you have, that will help you to also purify the negativities. So so that way bodhicitta is also this good quality that eliminates the faults of the first ground and so forth.
사도 이제 본인도 눌러디 사도 강하게 지기자 얘대야 공부를 가서 얘들 좋아하시고 얘들 좋아하시고.
So that helps. So the bodhicitta in the first ground helps to increase the good qualities of the first ground, and also it helps to eliminate the bad qualities of the first, the faults of the bad qualities of the faults of the first ground.
딱 말아서지지면 말아서지라는 배나 말아서지 세워하고 인지하고 딱 말아서지 이대야 공부를 다시로 따로 빠지는 거.
So within our continuum, like in our case, our bodhicitta, the patience, and so forth, thought to benefit others, helping others. All these are good qualities, right? That helps us to increase our qualities, good qualities, and decrease our the bad qualities, the faults.
Okay. That's it. Finish.
So when they say the faults, the kyun, it just means the nyentiv and the shaitiv. Nyentiv and shaitiv are the kyun.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why this section is in this place. Like we just listed all of the bad things that we have to get rid of, like afflictions and knowledge obscuration. And now
It sounds good.
Yeah.
All those can be included in the faults. Yeah.
So then basically just the afflictions were removed by the antidote, right?
Antidotes, yeah.
And then this, the knowledge obscurations are removed by the view.
Yeah.
So that way the things that purify is just all of those, the antidotes and the view.
Yes. 사모의 지각을 해서 그런데.
사모. 배나.
그래서 제대로.
제대로 배나.
제대로 맞아도 제대로 실에서 제대로.
저기 대에 맞으라고.
대제에서.
대소다 돈이도로도 이해하지. 다들 저 전도시 이해하지. 이나 라랑 뭐까지 저한테 봉하나 양 디바도 쏘는 거 촉사하고 되었어. 제가 보니까 그 자주로서 이제 전부 다 되는 이제 반영을 자상으로 왔어. 그래서 저는 속까지 야 돈 아니 돈이 하냐 말이야. 봐. 그런 거 또 왔어.
So yeah, you have to have enough merit to be able to meditate on emptiness also, in order to be able to realize, gain the realization of higher understanding of emptiness. Then you have to have more merit, right? So when you meditate on bodhicitta, when you practice generosity, when you practice the morality, patience, and so forth, you increase your merit. And so with the help of that merit, then you will be able to have the realization of emptiness. And with that, then you can actually, directly eliminate all those delusions. So in that case, so these are all helping each other to increase, to eliminate those faults, all the obstruction to knowledge and so forth.
여자들이 제대로 점검이 제대로 가르치면 여자들 제대로 여자들 제대로 시험하고 여자들 딱 봐줘하는 거지 들어가지 봐 그래서 다 넥스트 저한테 보면은 양 쏘는 거 좀 못 싸고 그래 그냥 그래 이거 지금 빠도 내렸다 이 쏘는 거 좀 못 싸 대구 쏘는 거 처음 남도나 아니 동네가 반응 맞아 아니 저가 빠도 그래서 이제 노래로 다 피하니까
So that's the reason why you have to come out of meditation. You have to go on, you have to come out of the meditative equipoise and go into post-meditative equipoise. And so during the meditative equipoise, you abandon the delusion that corresponds with that realization of emptiness, right? And so in order to abandon the higher delusion, another step of delusion, you have to have a realization of emptiness that corresponds with that delusion. And so in order to generate that emptiness, then you have to accumulate merit. You have to accumulate merit. You have to accumulate enough merit to be able to generate that. And when you have accumulated enough merit, then you will be able to generate that. When you have generated that, then you can abandon those corresponding delusions. And so therefore you have to come out of meditation in order to accumulate merit. So you have to have both method and wisdom together like that in this way. So you have to have method and wisdom complement each other, and then you will be able to abandon the delusions.
But there must be some merit accumulated in meditation too, right?
Yes.
But not for the corresponding delusion.
Yeah, so you accumulate definitely accumulate merit, but not enough to develop that next level of emptiness, generation of realization of emptiness. So you need the wisdom and method all the time.
시와지. 그냥 양치 탑도 어디 저 강을 쓰고 도 시와 주고 용는 나도 지까다. 그렇게 오르면은
So whenever you do something, you have both wisdom and method, right? Even if you know, just knowing is not good enough. You have to know how to do it also. So method is how you do it. And so you have to know. You have to have both knowledge and the way you do it.
So what about the yogis?
which one?
Highly realized. So are they always, they're in such a high state that they don't, do they stay in meditation all the time or?
Very good, Kare. Tomari Naba Shawarin, sometimes Tajato Naguja was.
Yeah, they meditate on emptiness, and sometimes they also come out of the meditative equipoise.
And Parasoda went by that. And he shouts out to Joe from the solid of was.
So in our case, like making processions, making offerings, are accumulating merit, right?
And it's done Naba Shachi done. Karo. All Chamatawaka on the road. Legend of Gomasana, to the sharing Kasher was. And don't want it down it and go to the apparatus. You can chibar it, Tabina logos. Tamino here up behind the rumors.
So we meditate on death and impermanence, or karmic law of cause and effect. So that's supposed to be the wisdom. And of course, if you can meditate on selflessness or emptiness, then that's the best method, the best wisdom. So it's the same for the yogis. But they have to have both method and wisdom.
Okay. What is Tapishing Chimana, Shashoba Shashoba
So if you don't have both method and wisdom, it's like a bird without both wings. The bird that doesn't have both wings will not be able to fly. Right?
Okay. Not this. I'm that side yes, no side yes.
So now the fifth one is the meaning of the term ground.
And there are such things, the such things. Some is not catching the third level.
So then there's the general etymology of ground and the etymology of the individual ground. Right? So why is it called ground? Why the etymology means like why is it called such and such? Why is it called ground?
She don't say it the Mimi she join us, Mimi.
So in Sanskrit it's called bhumi, right?
Ade Batini Majata, taking the ball of Bala, such Jimita, Kajalana, and then Dejan Jomo Podame, Dinichi, Jibami, Tenshabana. Yet then Konikon Peros begin the education.
And so it says from the point of view of the developing the etymology, there is a reason for saying ground for the Mahayana part of seeing and so forth, because such is said because it serves as a support for fearlessness for trainings regarding the limitless numbers of gods of the two obstructions, and because it acts to increase good qualities to higher and higher levels. So the trade is, so that frees them from that which frees them from the fear of the two obstructions, and then frees them from those two obstructions. So then Buddha Maitreya says in his ornament of the Mahayana Sutra that since they are fearless with respect to the limitless number of gods, and since for the sakari of limitedness, the numbers of good qualities, later on moves higher, just these are asserted to be grounds.
Do they think that's supposed to be sake? I think that's it.
How do you spell it?
S-A-K-E-R-E.
Should be sake of limitless numbers, you think?
What is that?
I don't know,
Maybe it's
in
safe.
Tibetan is chir, probably just sake, for the sake of it, you know, chir.
Sure, is
Chung,
right. Yeah, there is.
jigme chir.
Yeah, sacred, what is that?
There's no such word in English.
That's
It's a typo.
Yes.
Sacred. Doesn't make
And
sense.
since for the sake of, I think it's the sake of
You
human, it's
want
not
to
also.
English.
Yeah.
뭐 봐도 징매시가.
English, 딱 맞아오셔야 돼. 저거는 맞아오셔. 맞아오셔야 빠다는 빠다달라. 네, 시시 공부 보듯이 된지 되자도. 다 되자 빠는 거다. 아니 얘들 공부 배워시. 다 얘들이 다 사실 다 오래서.
Yeah, so I think that's the sake of limited numbers of the good qualities. Later on moves higher, just these are exalted to be a ground. So anyway, that which helps them to grow these good qualities higher and higher, and then free them from all this fear of the ghost of the obstructions and so forth.
뭐지? 다 사토모라도 가만히 이거
And now the etymology of the individual grounds, there is a reason for calling the first ground very joyous. Very joyous.
다 사동본의 도비 상처가 이해하다. 사동본이다 상처고말에 이해하래. 생지제 된저바 통하나? 아니, 딱 가와 쳐버리 쉬어가잖아. 완전 가와.
So that's because when one sees from the first ground that one is near to complete enlightenment and the accomplishment of the welfare of sentient beings, then a special joy is generated.
다 사동본이다 상처고말에 이해하지. 근데 다 생지가 된저바도. 다 생지가 된저건 되고서 다 들어가와 쉬어서 된저가 가와.
So from the first ground you are much nearer to the Buddhahood and complete enlightenment. And also you can see that you can now benefit sentient beings, then therefore you feel very joy.
No aggression result. Right? And 대가로 되니까 딴 데도 지마요. 상징이랑 이해와서 생제되는 통화라서 상징과 상징과 통화 이해와서 생징이 된다고 저거 통화를 나 라드가 깨졌다. 가오티가 다 대셔라가 시월을서라고.
And from the same text in the Mahayana Sutra, it says, since they are near enlightenment and see they will accomplish the welfare of sentient beings, great joy is generated, therefore it's called very joyful. Then the second ground is called stillness.
아니 다른 제가 저점 담았어. 아니 태미지 집들이 저마다 저기니까 같이 라니 주고 되니 그지. 다 같은 이유로서 다때 딱 싸워니 저마는 거 자서 말했어. 딱 제가 좀 가려다. 아니 같이 좀 남았다 봐. 딱 되니까 저거 좀 그냥 제가 같아 버렸어요.
맞아요. 지금 차오서 지금 늦었어.
좀 차오되고 말이에요. 좀 차오 내가 그랬어. 아니 데미지 지다 되게 좀하고 딱 싸우는 거 말했어요. 딱 좀하게 봤어.
This is there's a reason to call it stainless because from the second ground one is free from the stains, the faulty ethics and the effort of taking the Hinayana to mind. So you don't have even the stains that thought wanting to free only oneself from separate existence. And so that's called the stainless.
Yeah.
When one moves from ground to ground, do we know if they're aware that they know, okay, I've accomplished everything I'm supposed to accomplish on this ground, so now I'm moving to the next ground?
So that is 사당보 토도를 사당보 유대 저거 토도를 딱 사당보 저 토스 다가 아마 다산이야 포기하면서 this is how go. Yes, those who are on the ground, they know, they will understand, they will know it.
Therefore, we are always saying you have to know renunciation. Otherwise, you really
So that's why I joke around and say that you have to know what is renunciation. If you don't know what is renunciation, you might have already generated it, still you think that I'm not generating renunciation because you have no idea what is renunciation. But of course, Bodhisattva, they know what is renunciation, and they know what is bodhicitta, so when they have generated that, they know they have generated that.
And so they know they've accomplished everything they're supposed to accomplish, say, in that first ground, and
That's
then
right,
they can just one day say, okay, now I made it to this.
Yes. So they will have that realization. So then when that, okay, now I realize this, now I have to start on this, try to practice this, and so then they move on. Yeah, of course, they know it very easily. So it's again from the same text of the Mahayana Sutra. It says, since it is free from faulty ethics and the effort of taking the Mahayana mind, it's called status ground. And then the third ground is called what? Radiant. So there's a reason for calling that radiant, because from the third ground one makes the effort to seek doctrinal scripture, even without looking after one's body and life, and other trainings are gratified by the appearance of doctrine. So trainings are gratified by the appearance of doctrine. So this again element of the Mahayana Sutra says, since it causes the great appearance of doctrine, is called radiant.
What does that mean without looking after one's body and life?
So we luda sola mata says. Means you can give up. You can give up with your body and life.
When you're on the third ground.
Like, the Buddha, on his life, giving up his body to the tigers and the cubs. So many bodhisattvas can do that, but especially the bodhisattva on the third ground has that special quality.
On the third ground?
Sorry, it's a bodhisattva.
Yeah, it's bodhisattva. Not Buddha. So you're third ground, you're not Buddha, you're bodhisattva. Yeah. And then the fourth ground is called shining, and that's the reason for calling that, because on the fourth ground one shines a fire-like light of exalted wisdom that burns one's corresponding to obstructions, corresponding to obstructions, from the point of view of possessing doctrines concordant with that, with the enlightenment. And the fifth ground is called, the same text again, there's a statement about that, fundamental of mind. Anyway, so the fifth ground is called difficult to attain. So there's a reason for calling that, because whereas for intelligent bodhisattva, this is ground difficult to tell because whereas for intelligent bodhisattva on the fourth ground and below, it is difficult to bring sentient beings to fruition and how to have patience, with the errors of trainees. On the fifth ground, these bodhisattvas are able to tame them, so that's difficult to tame. So yeah, the difficult to tame is not on the fourth ground, but below that, right? Bodhisattvas below that will have a little bit of difficulties to tame sentient beings, but from there on, you have no difficulties. So she actually no difficulties. So this is again etymology. Etymology is not necessary to to have the pervasive.
Okay.
There's a reason for calling the sixth ground manifest, because meditating on the arising of the system of the 12 links of dependent origination, manifest a reversal from cyclic existence, and meditating on the reversal of the system of the 12 link of dependent origination, manifest nirvana. So you understand that, right? When you use the term arising of the system of the 12 link, arising, and then the reversal of the system. So the arising is that which is in the role in the right sequence. So from the first there is the ignorance. From the ignorance comes from ignorance. Because of ignorance, then there is the volition or creation of karma. Right? Because of the ignorance, you create a karma, and because you create a karma, and then you leave the imprint of the karma on the consciousness. Then it talks about the consciousness, and because you have the imprint of consciousness, so then it gets ripened. When you meet the condition, and so forth. So it goes, and then because the karma ripens, then you experience the result. You are born, and then when you are born, then you develop your body, your senses, and then once you are born, then you age. Once you age, you die. Right? So all this in the sequence, in the rise system. So it comes one after another, and now then you go the reversal system. Is that you don't have to die if you are not born, right? If you are not born if you have not created a karma to be born, and if you are not created a karma, if you haven't had the ignorance and so forth, so that's going back. So you avoid by not having the former ones, so like that. So that's called the reversal system. And then there's the argument of Mahayana Sutra, quotation from there. And then in the seventh ground is called Gautam Rinso. It says, because independence of meditating on the path for a long time one relates the two, the final path having science and the effort will be one path of progress. You understand what that said?
You repeat that?
You have the text with you?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have, okay. There is a reason for calling the seventh ground Gautam path, because independence on meditating on the path for a long time, one relates the two, the final path, having science and effort with the one path of progress.
What is it?
No coming back.
Can you say that?
Senche tsuchiki But tenche means having signs, right?
Yeah, sentence, yeah.
Soche
is effort, right?
yeah, by means of effort.
Huh?
Soche ki lam cha.
Soche, yeah.
Then dropa chike lam.
They come together.
Yeah, dropa chike lam. What's the dropa chike
I
lam?
don't know, there's one
Dubarchila.
drop a ship. I don't know what it is. Anyway. Okay?
So you don't understand that?
But it seems like it's saying that
Which must be
you,
done.
at that point, you
How can we
realize,
understand?
it seems like the point is at that point you realize the two paths are one. Is that the gist of it?
Point of no return.
Or is it that the,
And they are two parts into together.
Yeah.
or that the
간제 맞이 사 두파 mentionla 사 두마지나 다 나와서 마다 사는 아이데 간제가 부터 막 치워야다 마다 사는데 아니 대인전은 다 봤어. 그래서 이 다때 있는 가시
Sadhumene di chimidogosa.
마다 사든지나 뭘 마다 심도 같이 그냥 도로 심도 같이 그냥 돈을 전화 받으시면 되겠다. 돈을 받으시면 되고. 단대 간에 하고 매 들어가시면 돼 가시.
그래서
다시서 와서 가지 남이 이양도 인정내다 다 그래서 말하고 있어요.
So I have no clear idea of what it's saying. It seems like the two parts coming together, but I don't know what it is.
Which two parts?
It seems like the one path, which
I
is
don't know.
the effortful one, and then the other one, which is dropachipe, which I'm not
I
sure.
don't know 들어가시면 되세요. 여기 지금 그거 이렇게 봐. 들어가시면.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have Google with
so
me.
maybe it's the idea that that there's a certain discipline that you need to sort of come to that point, but at that point you can let go and it stays where it is.
Yeah, could be. We're all guessing here.
Yes.
Maybe English maybe find more. Okay, this yeah. What is that's how you want to know what it is.
So now there's the earth ground. It's called immovable.
내가 아니 도저도 좀 이렇게 대신 뭐요 뭐요 왔어요. 이거
So because the ones on the earth ground both discriminations, with the science and discrimination without science, but with effort, do not move the mind and are non-existent.
같이 또 같이 제 도움을 들어.
Anyway, it's like this would not be able to cause any hindrances.
다 사고 레벨을 주시면 돼요. 그죠? 소소 야다 가지고 루트 시지비 자바 또 비긴 되지 보시죠.
And then the ninth ground is called the good intelligence, and because one attains the forebears called intelligence, correctly knowing individual phenomena.
다쪽으로 취직된 시기에 남과라 처튼 급하다. 근데 밤에 이쪽으로 또 접어서 받아 샤줘서 가서 저번에 남과나라고 그러다 비는 취직 전 취직 잘받대. 다 같이 저쪽으로 보면 남과라 철밤에 좀 되나 처럼 단 domli 자동으로 돌아야 되어지도 그러고 때때나지 이제도 뭐 사초하기 또 안에 등인들이 되겠다. 상지 나지 주는 것도 그래서
And then the tenth ground is called the cloud of doctrine. There's a reason for calling the tenth ground cloud of doctrine, because just as a great harvest in the world occurs in dependence on the rain falling from gathering of rain clouds in the sky, so a great marvelous harvest of virtue in the continuum of training occurs in dependence on the rain of doctrine from the gathering of clouds of doctrines regarding the forms, meditative stabilization, and so forth in the mental continuum of the tenth ground Bodhisattva, which is like the sky.
너 되시나? 너 되나? 아니, 나중에 공부도 같이 제가 사실 이제 돼. 그러면 저거 이제 때문에 대시 이제 됐다 지금 싫었다. 또다 사실 돼서.
So when the meaning is condensed, there is a reason that the subject, clear realization of one who has entered a path, are called grounds, because they serve as the basis for the many good qualities that are its effect.
간제 강가듯이建设시 예때
So that's the ground, right? So So that's the basis which helps to increase the qualities of the training and decrease the bad qualities or the faults. That's concrete.
That's like every definition for the ground has that same exact structure.
So that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
Ground.
That's it, huh?
That's it for the ground. Now you have the next is the presentation of part.
아니 주말에 나도 근데 마시고 아니 저거지나 아니 그냥 예 방금 나가서 보면
So that's about it for this time, and if we see next time, if all of us still alive, then we'll continue again next time if we meet.
아니 저거는 나라나 배 가고 싶어서 제가 까지라 때는 나라면 나 지금 로즈만 먹으라고 아니 지금 renunciation
So I feel very fortunate also to be able to go through this with you, because I get to study also, learn, revive, review, or learn and so forth. So I'm very fortunate also.
아니 자성은 이제 상담나다 가서 무시를 아니 좀 내대로 손을 제해서 아니 다 사람만 보다 여러 지시한데 그런 무시를 했어.
So from your side also, you should feel very fortunate to be able to, study and discuss about this. This is a path that, is taught by Buddha, and also leads to the path or ground that leads to the Buddhahood. Having that opportunity to study about that is very fortunate.
아니 나서 가지 시험 마셔도 안 되게 땐데 봐서야 보셔야 그랬어.
So whether we understand or whether we learn or not, definitely we have left some imprint in our minds, some good imprints.
근데 봐서는 다 이만치 뛰어내는 봐서 세를 했더니 그것이 이런 거예요.
So if you have left the imprint, then when that meets with the condition, it will ripen in the form of knowledge. So living imprint is very important.
근데 다 이런 데가 나서 싶다 연습을 나 담아들 해들어와 내가 로 찍으려다 말아서 강화 써서 그다음에 쇼트도 좀 들어갔더니 아니 실을 산지에 때만 zam들이 야 잡네 근데 대체 줘봐 한번 잡으랬어.
And so this is the last class on Wednesday for this year 2011. And so during this year, whatever matters, whatever virtues that we have accumulated by studying, contemplating, meditating, and so forth, and we should dedicate that merit, in general, for the Buddha's teaching, to increase, to pervade and to increase, and for holy beings, like His Holiness Dalai Lama, and so forth, to have long and stable life.
대인하는 것도 또 너무 세월을 지나나 먼저 니출도 에피도 주고 말해 가서 시험 나무 산지보다 그렇지 뭐를 해야 되는 건 다시 나 파마는 지까지 뭐를 해. 에피는 하는 거 소자로 그러고 근데 공부할 때도 딱 저도 때문에 그 소리 기다리고 나고 가을에 가야 아니 문자고 그랬어.
So, and also for all sentient beings to be happy, to be free from suffering, and so forth. So especially, that's in general, so especially you should dedicate your merit and pray for Lama Zopa Rinpoche to have a good health. So we won't have a center if there was no Lama Zopa Rinpoche. The whole APM, not only just whole APM, no centers. There will be no center without Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And not only the APM centers, but also like the Seraje monastery. So for so many monks, Lama Zopa Rinpoche has taken care, like a parent to them. And then, of course, no need to mention about the FPMT. He's the founder of the FPMT Center and the Kurukulla Center, which is included in that. And so we should all pray for Lama Zopa Rinpoche to have very, very long life, so that we can thrive to enjoy all this magnificent Dharma from him.
anything more than anything on the Dhamma, now, because it's very low enough. It's Sham down, Ning down, and I never could on the activity, and I was and the consequent penny of
And then that's about the dedication, and when I'm away, Sean, Nick, and Rubina will be teaching. So if you can come to all of those classes, that would be very good for you.
Okay. I think that's it. I'm very happy to with you guys. The study is, and now also we have a very good opportunity to. We have a great text. We have very good translator.
We have a warm room.
We have warm room. Warm room, right? Everybody, all the center students, members, and have together. We have a very warm room. Or we can see just, very holy objects is outside. This is not just one person's
Not just one person's hard work, the result of one person's hard work.
Everybody together, together work. Some people work hard, they had, somebody give them donation them, somebody give the idea them, maybe everybody work effort, one place together, then therefore we have to continue until we die. We have to support our center. This is not just one person's center. It's your student center. Therefore, we have to support. Understand?
So it's not my center or your center, it's our center. So we should all support for support the center. So just like you've been supporting, you should also continue to support the center. So of course, I'm requesting, but of course I have a 100% confidence that you will support me.
Okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you.
Then we have dedication.
Okay. Please, then,
It became bigger.
Working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddhist of those whose minds was demised, blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach the state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life's manjushri. May I find the best and complete and great paths of the teachings. May I please all the Buddhists by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by a strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings. With the points of the paths I have discerned, may I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, whatever direction most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread to dignify, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddhist seeds be nourished for a long time, by even this great intercourse to enlightenment and completed, to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent path never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
In
Snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in light till samsara's end.
page 49, you who uphold the pursuers of our way,
Who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior, myself, and others, your disciples, please live long.
prayer should always be with perfect teachers.
Your form and body is all goodness, your nature is that of Vajradhara. Through the root of the three jewels, on which you overrules. Should I seek your blessings, O protector, be cared for by you from birth through living through all my lives, and thus to become your chief disciple, holding every secret of your body, speech, and mind. O protector, please grant that all be auspicious for me to be foremost among your very first circle of disciples, wherever you manifest Buddhahood, so that all my temporal and ultimate wishes without exception may be effortlessly and spontaneously fulfilled. Through my lives never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities and stages of the path, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Furthermore, in life after life, may I pleasing him in return, be forever fostered by an accomplished Mahayana spiritual master, the source of every virtuous world and beyond. In his care may I acquire in him a firm, unshakable faith, pleasing him by every means possible, doing nothing even for an instant to disappoint. May my spiritual master impart to me every instruction and every teaching in its entirety. Having understood them faultlessly, may I practice them and be able to bring them to perfection. May I never even for a moment fall under the sway of malevolent teachers and misleading friends. Having developed in every life belief in cause and effect, renunciation, the Bodhi mind, and pure view, may I embark upon them with continual effortless forgiveness. In every life may every virtuous act gathered by way of body, speech, and mind be causes solely for the welfare of others, for the purest experience of enlightenment.